friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to show you how I make our pain tincture. And so let's get to it. Okay, so what I have here for my key ingredients are the feverfew, and you can find a video I did this past summer on the benefits of feverfew right up here. Now I first started growing this mostly for the sake of its pain and anti-inflammatory properties. And it does work great. I can testify to it in either the form of a tincture, an extract with vinegar, or eating it raw. However, it is very, very bitter. The taste is very strong. I thought once I first tasted it raw, I'd never do that again. But after a while, I got used to the taste. And in the summertime when it's growing, if I have a headache or anything, I just go ahead and chew on the leaves. I'm not saying it got enjoyable, but I did get used to it where it wasn't quite so bad. So go ahead and check out that video because there are other benefits to the feverfew and good things to learn about that, and you may want to consider growing it in your garden come this next year. So then the other one is the catnip. Now the catnip has a much better flavor than the feverfew, though maybe still not entirely, you know, wonderfully tasting to everyone, but it is better and it works great the same way, extract, tincture, as I'm going to do today, or eating it raw. Now obviously in the wintertime we don't have access to fresh catnip and feverfew, so making it in the form of a tincture to have on hand when we have any kind of pain or inflammation is the best choice. And a tincture is anything that is made with 80 proof alcohol or above. Now all tinctures are extracts, but not all extracts are tinctures. So when I've made them with vinegar, which I've done quite often because it's much cheaper and I think it's healthier for you, it could not technically be considered a tincture. Now I have found the extract with the vinegar works really good. However, when you're taking an extract, you're gonna have to take more of it at a time than with a tincture. A tincture is going to make the solution much stronger. It's going to pull even more of the benefiting properties out of your herbs than your vinegar or any other type of solvent. So that's one of the benefits of using the alcohol. And plus, because if you're using alcohol and it's a much stronger extract that you're getting as a result, you don't need to take as much of it. So when we were using the extract made with vinegar for pain, we were taking about a shot glass at a time, which is 2 ounces roughly. And so with this, half that much or less can be sufficient. So since the pain and anti-inflammatory tincture is the one we're most likely to use over the cold and flu and any of that other stuff, this is the one I find most important to have on hand at all times. So I'm not using any specific measurements, and I recommend that you check out some good herbal recipe books. I will post a couple below. Amy Fuel from the Fuel Homestead, she's got a book coming out that I've already done a pre-order on. I'm really excited about it, and I will link to her book below, and I recommend it because I know it's going to be good. And then another one is Rosemary Gladstar's, and I'll link to both of her books below that I have. And so I recommend if you're going to do something like this, you follow some more precise recipes. For me, I usually just wing it and throw a bunch of herbs in a jar. So you can see how much I have there of the catnip. I'm going to add that much more of the feverfew. What is that? Maybe a half cup. I'm not going by measure. I'm not going by weight. I'm going just by sight. And I found that these always seem to work really good for us. And sometimes once I get the alcohol in there, I'll end up adding more. Now, one of the new things I'm going to add to this particular blend is a little bit of Echinacea, because one thing I learned this last summer when I was looking up Echinacea in order to do a video on that, and you can find that video right up here, was that it's also commonly used as a pain reliever. So I'm going to throw a little bit of this in. And one thing I know about Echinacea, it does have a much better flavor than either the catnip or the feverfew. Oh, and by the way, I also have a video out on the catnip, and you can find that one right up here. I will put in a little bit more, and I want you to see. So I've got catnip to here, feverfew, and now maybe half as much of the echinacea compared to the feverfew and the catnip. I'm trying to get away from having to use as much of the feverfew as possible, just because of the flavor of it is so strong and bitter that even my last one with the tincture, with the alcohol and the other things that I used in it, you could still taste the feverfew pretty strong. Now, one more thing I'm going to add that I did in the last tincture I made that seemed, Mr. Rain hurt his back again the other day with, getting firewood. He only took, and I gave him some of that tincture, and within like 20 minutes or so, his back was better. That, and I did the muscle rub, rubbed it into his lower back, and you can find that recipe right up here. So I'm going to put in about the same amount of the marshmallow leaves and flowers that I did on the echinacea. And yes, if I haven't filled up my cards up here, I'll go ahead and link to the marshmallow up here. If I filled those up, then you'll find it in the end cards, because we're allowed up to 5 up here in the corner. And then, I can usually put 2 in the end cards. So now look how full my jar is of herbs. I could actually go more than that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in, as much as I hate to, a little bit more feverfew, simply because I know that one is the most effective, and I've already emptied out the catnip jar. And then I'm going to put that much again of echinacea, because I like to see the jar about 3/4 of the way full. And then another pinch of the marshmallow. And don't you like the way I threw it all over the counter too? The thing I like, or that's just really great about marshmallow, is it has so many, well, all the herbs do, but marshmallow has so many uses, and it's a nice mild flavor, and you can eat it green and fresh in salads, and it's really good. It's really great for the skin, so I also use it in my infused oil that I use in my skin cream. So anyway, now that's how my jar looks. That's the way I like it to look before I start adding the alcohol, because I want it as strong as I can get it. So, and yes, I'm just using a cheap vodka, because organic vodka is very hard to find and very, very expensive. So we're just using the vodka we get at Costco. Okay, so I'm using a chopstick to kind of mix all this in here and let those herbs start infusing right away into the alcohol. And I'll be adding more because I want this clear to the top. So you can see what that looks like right now. Okay, and so I'm going to put some more in there. Get it as full as I can. Now I'm going to put the lid on and shake it really good. Now you can see I already marked it Pain 11/2017. Now what you want to do is try to shake this up every day for at least a few days, and then maybe once a week, and I would let it infuse for at least 2 months. It'll probably be a long time infusing, because it'll be a long time before I'll need it. So I figure the longer it sits in there and infuses, the better off you'll be with your final result. So after you let it sit and shake it really good for a while, go ahead and check it and see what the level is. Because what's happening is your herbs are soaking up all that alcohol, and so you'll probably find that you'll have room to add more, which I can still add a little bit more. Okay, now I've done a couple of other videos on extracts and tinctures, and if I have any room in the end cards, I'll put those in there. But you can also do a search for these on my channel. I've done one for a deep sleep one that works really good, involving lavender, licorice root, and valerian root, and I think something else I added to it, I can't remember, but that one is an excellent one for, it also helps for specifically muscle pain and tension and stress, and just helps you relax so you can sleep. And so that's another one that we really have to have on hand, because you know we've been going through a lot of really stressful things over this past year, and so that we don't use it all the time. It's actually really rare. But when it gets bad and we're just so stressed out and we're not sleeping, or you know, my muscles are hurting from so much stress and pain, I just got to take that for a couple of days, and I'm usually great for months. So go ahead and look those up, and hopefully you'll find those helpful. So again, in case I didn't already say it, make sure you let this sit for at least 2 months. That's what I recommend on any of your tinctures or your extracts if you're using vinegar. Same applies to your vanilla extract. At least 2 months is going to be best for me. The longer the better. And also one more thing I wanted to say, for better flavor, if you want to try to help it out, is using like a spiced rum is going to add a much nicer flavor to it, in which I do have that on hand. But I'm saving that for making the vanilla extract, because it's really good in vanilla extract, and it is a lot more expensive than just a plain vodka. And since this isn't something that, you know, we just kind of, if you're already in pain, you're not going to care what it tastes like. You're just going to take it. So though I do try to make it taste better as much as possible. Now here's some more pointers when it comes to making extracts for children. You're probably going to want to forego the alcohol, which means you're going to want to go with an actual extract. Now, I would recommend for a pain extract to just leave out the feverfew, because I think you're going to have a hard enough time getting them to take it. And use either a combination of homemade fruit vinegar and your non-GMO food grade glycerin, or even just glycerin. The problem I have with just glycerin is that it is very thick, and I find that I have a harder time getting a good extract from that alone. It will extract your benefits from your herbs, but because it's so thick, it just seems like it takes a lot longer. So I recommend doing a blend of the glycerin with a nice flavored vinegar. Peach vinegar is recommended, even peppermint if they like minty flavors. And then the glycerin is going to give it a nice sweet taste as well. So it might make it more palatable to them. And again, I would say leave out the feverfew and go with just the catnip. And you might even be able to get away with just the marshmallow and the echinacea as well. And see how that works for you. I mean, you could even experiment by making small little doses at a time, using some of the different herbs and different blends and different solvents, and find out what's going to have the best flavor that you think you're going to get your kids to be most likely to take. Okay, so one more thing I would like to add, and I don't always think to say this in my videos, though I always put it in the description box. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a degree in anything like that. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not an herbalist, as far as I don't have any kind of degree in these things. I just learn as I go, and I grow a lot of my own herbs, and each time I start growing a new herb, I learn more about it as I go along, and all I'm doing is sharing with you what I've learned along the way, and I'm still learning. So I'm not an expert. However, feel free to ask questions in the comments below, because even if I can't answer your question, I am sure that there's many out there that follow my channel that can help you with that, and I will do the best I can to look it up if I don't already know it. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.